Hey guys, welcome to this week's analysis here at Financial Hub, where I'll break down the markets and show you guys what we have for the week. This is the last week of September, and it's not only the last week of September, but the last week of the third quarter of the year. So we're about to enter the fourth quarter of the year, the last and the fourth quarter. And usually, I've been saying this a lot, I always say it when we're ending quarters, it's very important to pay attention to how monthly closes are closing, weekly closes, because this usually when we're entering into at the end of quarters, it's easy to see sell-offs happening. We've seen sell-offs happening in the stock market, the indices. And reason for that being sometimes, yes, we are seeing the dollar really rising. Interest rates are going up across the world. So that one being factored into the markets, we're seeing a lot of people sitting on cash because it's yielding more. But on top of that, also investors and traders and all that are also taking some of their profits out in order to share with the investors at the end of when they're talking about their dividends and their returns and how they performed in the last quarters. Apart from that, this month we've seen a lot of things happening, and that has affected the currency market, and some which have not really affected the currency market, but it's important to pay attention to. One, we saw the Queen Elizabeth passed away, so our condolences to the people in UK, and we saw the new presiding king being sworn into power, King Charles the third, I believe. And apart from that, other things have been happening. There's still been war happening in Ukraine and Russia, which is really affected the market. How is that? This weekend, I think it was a Friday or Saturday, one of the two, we saw that MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5, what we normally use to execute our trades, were banned as part of the US from Apple, okay, from Apple products. I think Google products or Google people still have it, but Apple products we cannot download anymore MetaTrader 4, MetaTrader 5. If you already have it, then you can have it in the phone, but if on the laptop. But thereafter, we cannot download it anymore because of part of their sanctions. Apple doing sanctions in Russia, because MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5 are Russian apps, okay? It's part of MetaQuotes. MetaQuotes is a Russian company, and they're the ones in charge of creating these apps that we use to execute trades. So we can no longer download that, which has really affected many traders out there, especially for new people who've just bought new iPhones and all that. You cannot have the MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5 in your phones. But Google have not yet removed it from Google Play or the Google Store. I hope they do not, because that's the only option that people have. But if they do that as part of the sanctions in Russia, then that's going to be the next step they're going to take. But iPhone so far is the most used phone worldwide, so that's really going to affect MetaQuotes, and people will start looking for other options. Other companies will come up offering better options for how to use and execute trades and connecting them to your broker account. Apart from that, we had rumors over the weekend that there was a coup in China, okay, so that was another important thing we need to pay attention to. A lot has been happening in China with their banking system. If you know, the Henan province have been having a lot of issues with scandals of the bank runs were happening. People were doing a lot of striking and demonstrations. That's the exact word I was looking for. So people have been demonstrating. A lot of pensions, a lot of life savings have been lost. Over $6 billion and even more, that's to say the least, have been lost of people's and taxpayers' money. We've seen the coup that we're hearing that the China military were trying to take over the Chinese government, but I don't know how far that has reached. I don't want to talk much about it, because now if you Google, China normally very secretive and put most of their things really under the water. So even if you're doing research, a lot of their things are normally banned from the internet. You can't really get them. You know how these things goes. So right now, if you Google, you won't see much of it. But that was the rumors that were happening over the weekend, hearing that the president, Xi Jinping, was under house arrest. So I'm still doing more research on that. Then we'll cover that. But apart from that, the country is in really a lot of turmoil, with the sort of rumor saying the country might default on a bit of other loans. There's stress within the country. Because there's a lot of mismanagement on the real estate sector and the banking sector, China is one of the biggest real estate industry or countries in the world. I was doing a bit of research over the weekend, and I saw that in the past year, I don't know if it was 2021 or 2020, China was exporting 60% of the world's cement into their country. So that means they were using a lot. Actually, there was a topic that was saying in the past year, China has used a lot more cement than the US used to do when they were building their country over the past over 100 years. So China really moving fast, and that's why you normally hear that China really leapfrogging and trying to jump from where they were to becoming a world superpower. They're the second biggest economy in the world, and therefore that means it's going to affect the market a lot. So apart from that, I want to jump into the markets and talk a bit about what I'm seeing in the markets. A few things have been happening. Today morning, we've seen the pound. If you trade the pound has fallen over 4.5% in the first 4 hours of the day. That is crazy, okay? Currencies don't fall that much over such a short period of time, okay? So that was very, very important. Markets really fell, okay? Apart from that, we are seeing that the dollar has continued to rise. The dollar is still in a bullish trend, okay? Very strong. Last week, we saw interest rates and all that really being hiked, and that affected the dollar to really go higher. Later on today, we have the Fed Powell speaking. Later on tomorrow, and later on, I think he's speaking 3 times this week. So very important, because he's going to talk about the economy, about inflation and employment, what they're saying about interest rates and all that. So very important on that. But apart from that, markets are looking quite good. Let me share my screen. So apart from that, I was looking at the news for this week. I don't really have much in terms of high impact news. I'm looking at the ECB President Lagarde speaking today. Actually, it's President Lagarde speaking today. Fed Powell is not speaking today. He'll be speaking tomorrow and on Wednesday. Okay, so those 2 times. Okay, and then after that, we don't really have that much. We'll be paying attention also to the price index on core price index on Friday, but those are things we're not really paying much attention to. What we're watching right now is inflation and interest rates that are affecting the world as a whole. So if you just look at GU, GU was down. It's really recovered from where it was in the morning. We saw market opening from this, dropped all the way down, about 4.5% drop just today morning alone, and markets have started pushing back up, okay? So what we're seeing apart from that, I normally don't trade the GU, so I keep watching it. It's a dollar pair, so I have to pay attention to the dollar pairs. So that was a strong move. Markets have rebounded, covered that drop that was open, that fell today morning. Apart from that, we're pulling back up. If I look at the daily chart, I don't really have much. That's why you're seeing this strong spike, okay? And we normally have what we normally call market exhaustion. When market is normally moving strongly in one direction, we normally come one day and normally just spike. So you've been seeing the pound has been moving to the downside for the longest time, okay? And the daily chart, the trend has been moving further down all the way to, market has been heading sort of to parity levels. Market today spiked 1.035%. I know, $1.035. That's the lowest, all-time lows that the pound has ever been. We've never seen this time. The last time we were in such a bear market was back in the 80s. Okay, I don't know if this chart can show me all the way back to that time. Here, yeah, back in the 80s, you can see market was at, the lowest we had gone to was 1.05, okay? But today market spiked below that level, sort of acting as a support level. So we'll be paying attention to how market will behave here on moving forward. Very important to see how market will fare out from there. There's a high chance market can still continue to moving down. Okay, I'm not here to say that market has changed direction or whatever. There's still room for market to move down as long as the markets continue to pressing in those interest rates and markets pushing further down. So that's what I'm seeing on GU. We'll pay attention to how it performs later on in the week. Looking at the pairs I normally trade, USD CAD has continued to fare further higher. Okay, market has been forming higher highs and higher lows. What you're seeing on my chart, you can see how market has gone higher, high, higher, low. Market broke the 1.320 resistance level to the upside, and market has continued to soar. This is in line with how the US oil has also been moving down. For those who know, the US oil market is the USD CAD, I mean, is a Canadian dollar is a commodity pair, meaning it's linked to the oil market. If the oil is doing good, then you'll see this market, the CAD also gaining in value. If opposite, like now oil has really been dropping in price, that's why you're seeing the Canadian dollar weakening against the US dollar. Apart from that, the interest rates against the US dollar interest rate is higher than the Canadian dollar. The Canadian dollar is at 2.25% and the US interest rate is at 3.25%, which means on a carry trade investment, it's better to trade on the dollar as compared to the Canadian dollar. So these pairs continue to rise. If you get any corrections along the week, I don't really have any analysis much on this one. Usually I'm normally looking for an impulsive move and a correction. I pay attention to the correction in anticipation for a further move to the upside. There's no much of that over here. Market has just been pushing up, one leg corrections pushing up. So I'll be paying attention to that. See if you get a further correction this week. If not, and market continues to soar, then let it soar. Let the markets go where the markets need to go. Apart from that, looking at gold, gold has been dropping further down. Last week we got a good pattern on the gold. On the 4-hour chart, you can see how market broke the support level, okay, corrected to get a touch of that level and further dropped further down. I still see this market moving further down. However, markets are sort of correcting back to the 1650 level, okay, but I expect a further drop down to the $1,600 mark before we break that, maybe to head to the $1,575 mark. So gold in a downward trend. If you zoom out, you're seeing that it's in a channel-like formation to the downside. If I go to the 1-day chart, we're sort of seeing a pattern to the downside. You're seeing this market moving lower lows, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, creating a further lower low. So I don't see any bull market in this one. I still expect market to further drop as long as we remain below the 1675. Remember, this is a major level. Look at this. Market broke below this level. You're seeing this level. Major resistance level. It was a major support level. The last time we were below it was back in 2020, and now market has broken below it yet again. So this level, of course, will act as a strong resistance, and that's why last week we were looking for this short trade to the downside when market went back to correct to that level, and expecting markets to move further and further lower to the downside. So that's what I'm seeing on gold. Okay, I still expect further momentum to the downside. Market has just come from an impulsive move. Of course, some corrections along the way, as we expect the dollar to correct a bit before we get further movements to the downside. My second pair, my third pair, I mean Aussie dollar as well, also strong downward trend. Looking at the daily chart, market has been in a free downfall. Look at that, market is in a downtrend. Okay, like I said, the trend is your friend until the trend breaks. Okay, you're seeing how market broke the support level 0.670, and market has continued to drop. So we continue to be in that direction as well. This one, I don't really have any trade setups at the moment. Later on in the week, they might present themselves, but at the moment, I'm just looking at this impulsive move that markets closed off last week with a strong sell-off. I want to see if we can get a bit of a correction coming this week before we go further down. Okay, so that's the same on this one. And last but not least, my US 30, we went back down to the $30,000 mark. Looking at the daily chart, look at how markets went back to this previous level, creating new lows for the year. Okay, if you remember this level pre-COVID, it was pre-COVID highs over here. Okay, so major levels. This was pre-COVID, before COVID hit, and we got that downward trend. Market acted as a resistance. We came and broke it around this level, support, then moved further up, and now we're seeing a big correction. Market has come back to it. I see market breaking it, okay, to the downside. This strong momentum can continue to the downside to get support further down, maybe at the $28,500 mark, which is my next support level to the downside. So that's what I'll be watching on this one. Also, like I said, this one has just come from an impulsive move, waiting to see if we can get any correction before we get any trade, because I'm always trading in the direction of the trend, looking at the impulsive moves, okay? So that's pretty much it. Looking at the dollar, last but not least, dollar daily chart, look at how market has been faring to the upside, higher highs and higher lows. As much as market continues to move to the upside, I do not want to bet against this direction there. Momentum is your friend, direction is your friend, and if you've been buying this market, you've been making much more money than people who have been selling this market. So market continues to fare out to the upside. Let's see what will happen this week. Will we get a correction? Because we haven't seen any major correction ever since we got this correction here. That was back in August. Market has really more or less been in an uptrend ever since, okay? So if you're buying any of this dip, you've been making a lot more money than people who have been selling. So that's what I'm watching on the dollar. We'll pay attention to what the Fed said this week during the meetings and the speeches as the week goes on. So allow me to end it there. Last Euro USD also downward trend. Today morning we saw market dropping about 1.2%, but now they've gotten a big correction. So Allow me to end it there for today. I hope you've enjoyed that analysis. There's a lot of things happening in the markets, a lot of things happening with traders, with us, also in terms of our development here at the office. There's a lot of changes that are coming that we'll be sharing with you guys soon, and you'll be excited for. So apart from that, allow me to end it there as the week start. I wish you all the best. May the pips be with you. And as I always say, remember to stay woke, stay financially literate. See you soon. Thank you very much for watching Financial Hub's content on YouTube. For more Forex analysis, financial education, podcasts, and exclusive content, be sure to subscribe.